Israel has long been at the forefront of innovative medical research, and now one Israeli company has found a way to improve chemotherapy treatments for cancer. Joining us today in the studio is Dr. Liat Flaishon from BioSight. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for asking me to come.
So to begin, what is BioSight? Tell us about the work that you guys do.
Okay, BioSight is a clinical stage, Israeli-based biotech startup company that was founded in 2000 by Dr. Stella Gangrinovich. And this company is aiming to address the unmet need of cytotoxic drug or chemotherapy drug toxicity.
Interesting.
And actually we have a platform, the proprietary platform of the company is enabling us to design and synthesize prodrugs that can answer this unmet need of chemotherapy toxicity.
So let's break this down into some easier terms. What is a drug that you guys are offering and who is it for?
Okay, our leading product is called Astarabine and it's for hematological malignancies. We are aiming this drug, it's built like a prodrug from other chemotherapy, which is a very effective chemotherapy for these hematological malignancies. However, it is very toxic and therefore cannot be administered to all the patients or patients with other diseases or patients which are frail. And therefore, we hope that using our drug, which is targeted to the malignant cells and not for the normal tissues, they can be treated with this drug without the toxicity of the drug. Because every chemotherapy actually works by targeting both malignant cells and normal tissues. And by doing that, then you get the toxicities of the drug.
Right, which are the terrible side effects that people experience.
Exactly.
Right.
So our drug is a product that is like a missile targeted to the malignant cells, avoiding and sparing the normal tissue.
So in other words, you know, somebody, if you have, and can you explain which exact cancers this targets?
Mm-hmm. It targets specifically acute myelocytic leukemia and acute lymphocytic leukemia.
Okay. So if you have this cancer and you're taking chemotherapy, what can often happen is negative side effects due to the chemotherapy because they're killing not only malignant cells but also positive cells that your body needs.
Exactly.
And so what you're offering is essentially a treatment that will only target the bad cells.
Mostly the bad cells.
Mostly the bad cells.
And therefore, specific population like elderly populations that cannot be treated currently with this chemotherapy will be able to receive it.
Wow, that's a big deal. Okay, so what have the outcomes been so far? Have you guys tested this drug? Is it available yet?
Okay, this drug is in clinical research now. We have already tested it in several patients. Up until now, it looks safe, well tolerated by the older patients that currently cannot receive the original chemotherapy.
Okay.
And we are also having some very promising efficacy results in those patients. So we are hoping to extend this phase 1-2A study that is currently running. And at the beginning of next year, we are hoping to start a phase 2 study, which would run in the US and in Israel in parallel.
So what is the time frame then? When would we be able to access this drug if we were to need it?
During clinical studies, patients both in Israel and the US would be able to get the drug.
Okay.
From the beginning of next year. In Israel, it's already available in one center in Rambam Hospital, and it would also be possibly available in other hospitals soon. To the market, it will take some time, although we hope that our clinical development process would be shorter than usual.
So what do you think some of the biggest effects of this drug is going to have just on the overall population?
Okay, let's say for acute myelocytic leukemia, for example, the 5-year survival of these patients is something like 40%. For patients that are below 60 years of age. However, for patients which are 60 years of age and older, the 5-year survival currently is between 5 and 10%.
Wow. Because
they cannot be treated with the more good or toxic chemotherapy drugs. By using our Astarabine product, we hope to treat those patients as well and then to equalize the prospect or the chances of the elderly population for 5-year survival, like the patients younger than 60.
So this is a big deal. How did you get involved with the company, and kind of how did you guys decide to target this issue?
The founder of the company, Dr. Stella Gangrenovic, thought about the idea of how to target chemotherapy to cancer cells. Based on this technology, we have several products. Astarabine that I have been talking about is only our lead product. But the idea is to use knowledge that is out there and known. For example, in this case of acute myelocytic leukemia and acute leukocytic leukemia, it is known that cancer cells are lacking a substance that is very much required for their proliferation. And we are providing the cells, we are linking this substance to the chemotherapy. Therefore, the cancer cells suck this drug in, and then in the cell, this molecule is released from the chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy now can kill the target cells.
So, what are your plans for the future? Where do you see I don't want to say the cancer market, but the treatments that exist for cancer being in 10 years from now?
There are a lot of drugs being tested in the field, especially in the hematology field, because there is a huge unmet need for patients for new treatments. By the way, the drugs that we are designing the prodrug for is out there in the market for the last 30 years, because it's the most effective drug for this kind of malignancies. And there are a lot of new drugs tested and currently in clinical trials. And we hope that our drug would be one of those leading drugs for the next years.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It sounds like you guys have created something that will have a big impact on the world. Congratulations.
Thank you.